Patch 5.3 has been out for quite a while now. Now that the dust has settled a bit, I want to take a moment to go over what was probably the most contentious change introduced in 5.3, which were the sleeve draw changes. In case you've been living under a rock or don't play Astro, the change was that sleeve draw now gives one card instead of three, but this one card is guaranteed to be an ideal seal. Clearly there's a bit of a give and take here, and the big question is, was it worth it? To start, reducing the number of cards given by sleeve draw is certainly a nerf. Fewer cards equals less DPS. We'll be getting 2 fewer cards every 3 minutes, which in a typical fight will be somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 8 cards. Depending on how well optimized you are, cards are worth somewhere between 30 to 50 DPS, so we're losing a couple hundred overall. This sucks, but you have to remember that Astro was and still remains top dog for DPS, so if any healer deserved a DPS nerf, it was Astro. So what about the guaranteed seal part? This is helpful, right? Sleeve draw is used for the third card in your opener, and this card used to be the most problematic in terms of the search for 3 useful seals. Nowadays, even if you never redraw during your opener, this sleeve draw change yields a full 6% divination 2/3 of the time, which is much better than things were previously. Depending on how advanced of an opener you used, these changes may affect you more or less than the average Astro, but everyone is seeing stronger and more timely first divinations. But enough about card and divination numbers. I think the more important thing to discuss is how do these changes feel? There's never really been anything truly wrong with Astro. Its numbers are more than good enough, it just feels a little clunky or annoying to play sometimes, and the opener in particular has been a source of annoyance for many players. One complaint that I've had is that there's too much randomness in the opener, and it feels bad to be forced to do a suboptimal opener just because of bad luck. Obviously, the sleeve draw changes are meant to address this sort of issue. My hope when I saw sleeve draw changes during the live letter was that they would change Astro in a way that would enable the class to do a 6% divination every pull. And well, they didn't do that. While the sleeve draw changes do make the opener more consistent, you can still get unlucky. And even though these bad outcomes happen less often, the fact that they're rarer almost makes them more annoying. So, okay, the Astro opener had randomness before, and it still does now. Boo-hoo. Honestly, I'd be fine with this change in a vacuum if it weren't for all the annoying side effects that have come with sleeve draw. Because sleeve draw gives 3 cards instead of 1, the Astro opener utilizes 3 cards instead of 5. So when you're trying to get your 3 seals for divination, you need to use every card's seal. If your second card isn't being cooperative, you're stuck in this weird redraw loop where you simply can't play the card until either you redraw a good seal or you give up altogether. In the past, you could at least minor arcana the card and hope the next one was better, which at least lets you feel like you were still progressing through the opener in some sense. But what's so much worse than this is that we only have a maximum of 3 cards available in the opener. These 3 cards are the card we draw pre-pull, the card we draw during the pull, and the sleeve draw card. The problem here is that draw has a 30-second cooldown, and if the boss is pulled within 30 seconds of stepping into the instance, or after a wipe, it becomes physically impossible to do the Astro opener correctly, and divination gets delayed as a result. Obviously, this feels terrible, and it creates this awkward dynamic between the Astro and the rest of the group. Is it more important to pull quickly, or give the Astro enough time to manage his cards? But my biggest beef isn't with how terrible or awkward this change feels. My problem is that this change runs completely counter to a whole set of quality of life changes introduced for Shadowbringers. Eliminating pre-pull wait times was practically a theme of this expansion. Scholar and Summoner can't use Aetherflow out of combat anymore, so there's no need to wait on them pre-pull. Monk can generate all 5 stacks of Forbidden Chakras simultaneously, and jobs that have skills with multiple charges have all of these charges immediately ready for each pull. It seemed like every job was revamped so that as soon as you stepped into instance, you were pretty much ready to go. And now, we have to wait on Astrologians again. It just makes no sense, to the point where it seems like this was an oversight by the developers, and I hope this is something that gets fixed, and soon. The last issue I have with this change is more of an identity thing. While I do miss some of the quirks of the old Stormblood card system, overall I was fine with the transition to single target cards. And one of the things I saw as consolation was that even if we didn't have cards that were quite as unique or impactful, at least we got more of them. And as much as the Astrologian opener was stressful and a little frustrating, it was fun to be able to machine gun 5 cards onto practically every member of your party. And now that we're back down to 3, I feel like we've lost one of the only unique aspects of the card system this expansion. At this point, the complaint that the card system in Shadowbringers feels like a watered down version of Stormblood is starting to hold a lot more merit. So clearly, I'm not too happy about what happened to sleeve draw, and from what I've seen, quite a few of you agree. And so one thing I want to discuss is that if we were able to hit the undo button on this patch and put on our hindsight glasses, is there some silver bullet here that magically fixes all of Astra's problems? Honestly, there might be, and I think one possible solution is staring us right in the face. What if instead of sleeve draw only giving one card with the correct seal, it gave two? That way, between one drawn card and sleeve draw, we would have all three seals needed to execute a 6% divination in the opener. If the developers do indeed want to nerf Astro, this is still a nerf, as the cards lost over the duration of the fight would still typically outweigh any gain this would give to the initial opener. But more importantly, we'd guarantee that Astro always has a minimum of 3 cards available, so while it may be beneficial to wait a few seconds before starting a countdown, it won't be necessary for the playability of the job. Finally, we get to keep the feeling that sleeve draw is an impactful capstone ability, worthy of a full 3-minute cooldown. All in all, I can't help feeling that these changes were just a huge missed opportunity. While the sleeve draw changes seemed to be made with the best intentions, I think they ultimately fell short and created more problems than they fixed. Overall, this was just a blemish in a slate of otherwise great changes. I'm not that disappointed with the package as a whole, just disappointed when I think about what could have been. What did you think of this patch? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like and subscribing. I'll see you all next time.